Hi there, my name is Leslie Rosenberg and I'm the STEAM Studio Technician. And today I'm going to be going through the STEAM Studio safety contract right here. So you can sign the bottom and also the liability waiver on the back, and I'll walk you through it. It's as if you're taking a safety orientation, but it's virtual. So STEAM Studio at the ramp is available to support the research of faculty, staff, and students. Access to the design studio, tools, and equipment will be granted on an individual basis upon completion of the safety orientation. This right here, by a STEAM Studio supervisor. The privilege of access and use of the facilities requires that every user adheres to the safety regulations outlined in this document. Any violation of STEAM Studio rules may revoke that person's access to the studio until further notice. These guidelines ensure safe working conditions for you and those around you. Before beginning work, always look for pinch points of the tool. In other words, ask yourself, how can this hurt me? A great question anytime you're approaching a tool. So number one, the first item on the safety contract. The studio may only be used by those who have completed the STEAM Studio safety orientation, and your access will be revoked if you allow unauthorized users into the studio. So that means somebody, your friend, if you wanted to show them around, you could, but you'd also be responsible for them to be safe. That means they'd be wearing closed-toed shoes. That means they'd be wearing safety glasses. You would make sure that they wouldn't be using any tools. If they wanted to come in and use tools, they'd have to go through the safety orientation as well. So you're responsible for them. Number two, only use equipment on which you've been trained and only for its intended use. So make sure, even if you know how to use a table saw or a bandsaw, that you get trained by one of us, a supervisor in the STEAM Studio, to actually go through the tools and how we use our tool, because every tool is different and everybody's expectations around tools are different, and ours might be a lot more strict than what you do at home. We just want to make sure you're doing it safely. Number three, always ask for assistance if you are unsure about a setup or operation. That's what I'm here for. That's my job. All of the staff who work here are open and available to help you with any questions that you might have around setup or operation. Even if you've walked through the tool before, you can find me in my office or you can find me on the floor somewhere and just ask questions. That's what we're here for. And no questions are dumb. We want to hear all of them. Number four, no one is to work in the design studio alone, and that is for safety, so that if somebody gets hurt, there's always somebody there who can call for help. Maybe that's 911, maybe that's just calling campus police, maybe that's calling, for extra backup, that kind of thing. So we always work in pairs. We always make sure that we're safe that way. Number five, safety glasses are provided and must be worn at all times in required areas. So here are my special safety glasses, and I wear them anytime. We would wear them anytime you're over this yellow and black line. So that's going into the space, working with tools, into the wood shop. And the idea behind safety glasses is they prevent 90% of all eye injuries. So our eyes are really important. We want to protect them and make sure they're okay for future use. That's why we are very serious about wearing safety glasses. So it's also a way to know that you're prepared to work. So you've got your safety glasses on, you're ready to go, you're not distracted, and it's a lot less likely that you'll get hurt. Closed heel and closed-toed shoes must be worn at all times. So if you come in here wearing sandals, you won't be allowed to work. Long hair must be tied back and secured at all times. So bring a hair tie. We have some available if you forgot. That's really important so that your hair doesn't get stuck or caught into a tool, a rotational tool, or a tool that moves, basically. Number eight, no loose clothing, jewelry, or headphones allowed while using tools. So the same thing that happens with hair can get pulled in, can happen with clothing, can happen with jewelry. And headphones, we ask you not to wear them so that you're more aware of what's going on around you in case somebody else needs help, in case you need help. Headphones are a distraction. We do have a speaker system in here, so if you want to listen to music, you can. It's just a public listening to music. Number nine. Hearing protection is provided and should be used at your discretion. I recommend wearing hearing protection. I'm in here a lot and it's very loud in here and you can damage your ears. And while we don't require it, we highly recommend it. Number 10, always report accidents, broken equipment, or unsafe conditions to the supervisor. That would be me, that would be Sarah Sanders, Chaz Llewellyn, or Amanda Simons. If something breaks, even if it's a bit, or it's some, something on a tool, I would say, not a piece of sandpaper or something like that, but something on a tool, you would want to tell us what's going on so that we can fix it as soon as possible for the next student that comes in. This is a communal space and we want to make sure it's available and useful for anybody that comes in. And number 10 is too, like, things break, right? Things break in here. We have consumables, we replace things a lot. That's a part of making. And it's not something you should be afraid of telling us. We are used to things breaking and we're used to fixing things. If you don't tell us, it feels worse to come up against, come up to a tool and then realize that it's actually broken and that it's going to take a lot longer to fix before we use it. So let us know. Number 11, never leave a running machine unattended. So if you're walking away to go get a piece of wood, you should turn the machine off so that somebody might come up if the machine was running and not know it was running and hurt themselves. So always turn it off, make sure it comes to a full stop before you walk away. Number 12, always disconnect power when changing bits or blades. Yeah, make sure that you're safe doing that. If you don't know how to change a bit or a blade, you can ask for help. Number 13, always remove wrenches, chuck keys, etc. before turning on a machine. So that is for in case if there is a chuck key attached to a drill press or a spindle on a drill press, then that could actually fly off and hurt somebody. So it's making sure that everything is away from the tool that's spinning in order so it doesn't fall or fly off. Number 14, no food or drink allowed around equipment. Where you're allowed to bring a closed water bottle if you have one. You're allowed to eat on the other side of this yellow line and also drink and be merry. And but when you cross that line, we don't want to have a lot of food or water or, not water, but a lot of food or like sodas or something like that. They can ruin machines if they're sitting, creating like a little line where the cup was or something like that. So just be really aware of that. Number 15, keep a clean work area free of clutter and debris and keep pathways clear. Well, like I said, we're a communal space. We want to keep our areas clean. So clean up after yourself. That's going to be coming up again. Make sure that there's not a lot of clutter going on. That's really for OSHA and for the fire department, making sure that our exits are clear and people won't get stuck in this building. So it's a safety thing. Number 16, gloves are available for moving material and hot work only. Do not use gloves when operating motorized equipment. So gloves are something you might see on YouTube. Somebody might be using a bandsaw with a glove, but it's really actually very dangerous to use gloves when you're using a motorized machine. What can happen is your glove can get pulled into the machine and it can actually cause a lot worse damage to your hands than if you weren't wearing gloves. You lose some sensitivity when you are wearing a glove, so you can't actually, you might not know that the blade is hitting the glove and it couldn't pull it in. So we can use gloves for moving hot work and material, but not for using machines. Number 17, do not enter STEAM Studio under the influence of drugs or alcohol. This is a no-brainer and it will get you kicked out for good. Make sure that you're sober when you're working in here. 18, before leaving STEAM Studio, clean up your work area and replace all tools. So there's not a magic cleanup fairy that works here. We all work here and we have to clean up after people sometimes, which is really not the most fun thing to do. It's a whole lot nicer when people clean up after themselves and the space is ready for the next person. So by signing this contract, you understand and agree to follow the policies and rules outlined above. You've completed the STEAM Studio safety orientation. And you also agree to do your best to ensure safe working conditions for yourself and others in the design studio. And you understand that failure to do so may result in loss of access to the design studio and equipment. So your name can go down here. We do require an emergency contact, your phone number as well. And then it's also awesome if you can sign this side right here and then send it to me, Leslie Rosenberg. I will tell you too, there's a liability waiver. It's a legal document on the back that also says that you are responsible for yourself in this space. And then a photo release. So if you don't want your photo taken, you can cross this out, but this signature right here is really important. And it is for both the photo release and for the liability waiver. Finally, on the back of the safety contract, is this grid right here with a bunch of tools listed on the wood shop and on the metal shop side. And what this means is you can get checked off on these tools if you show competence and you know what you're doing. Basically, you know what you're doing, you know what the pinch points are, you know how to safely operate it, you know what the tool can be used for, what material you can cut on it, you know what not to do. And so if you are ready for this, you can get checked off by a supervisor like myself. We have a checklist of what you should know for each tool to be able to get checked off on it. So, and that's online on the website. So if you wanted to use the bandsaw, you would be able to see all the things you need to know about what to cut, what not to cut, where you could get hurt. And you'd be able to explain that to me or somebody else and get checked off. And that means you can use the tool without any supervision. If you're not checked off on a tool, but you feel more confident, it doesn't mean you can't use the tool. You just might check in with me first and say, I just learned this bandsaw. I want to make sure I'm doing it right the second time. And you would basically, I'd watch you for a little while, make sure that you know what you're doing and let you work. So this is not a requirement to use tools, but this is will let us know that you have a mastery of this tool. Okay. Thank you very much. And sign this and send it to me and we'll make it. You'll be ready to work in here. Thank you.